Hi, everyone. This is Encouragement on Fire, and I'm Shirley Farrar. I have my guest, Stephen Forte, who is continually joining me for today's session. This is part two of Walk in Purpose with the Right People. And we've been talking from Amos 3:3. We've been talking Proverbs 27:17. We've been talking about having the right people at your table
Right.
in order to accomplish the things that you need to accomplish. This has really been getting good. Even off camera, we got some good stuff.
Yeah.
If we could put that inside some TikToks, man, some of the stuff can't quite see on TV on here, but that would be great.
Yeah.
But I want to read something to you, and then we can kind of move forward on that. What I was saying earlier, whether you're believing for healing or working towards a vision God has placed in your heart,
Mhm.
who you walk with matters.
Right.
And the people around you can either push you into your purpose or pull you away from it.
Right.
And we've been talking about the people that were with you when you were building a business, or the
Mhm.
people that were with you when you were going to school, or the
Right.
people that were with you when you were learning to tap dance, you understand dancing, or the people when you said, oh, these projects I want to do, those people are with you, or
Mhm.
if whatever it is, I need this healing.
Right.
Just because they were with you there doesn't mean they're going on the next journey with you.
This is
And I
true.
think for me, I was telling you in the last session, that's a hard thing for me.
Yeah.
It's almost like a grieving moment
Yeah, it is. It
because
and it should be.
the people that I hold dearest to me,
Mhm.
I can't take you on the next journey
Yeah.
unless you get like-minded with me.
Mhm.
And that's, for me, that's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I
I mean,
mean?
I think the best example of how life is really gonna be when it comes socially
Yeah.
is family. That's like our biggest example, and the next one
Yeah.
really should be church
Mm.
because, and I mean, just like we weren't raised in the same house, but for a moment we were raised in the same house, or we were all in the same house under
Yeah.
the same roof. But
Yes.
then you and Daryl went over here,
Yeah.
we were here, you went to
Yeah.
college, like I went to college,
Yeah.
like we're at the same church at one time, then you're at another
The
church,
church.
you started a church, so
Yeah.
you're advancing in life, and so you're able to take those couple people with you, or
Hmm.
those people that are gathered with you at that moment,
Yeah.
just like family. And
Hmm.
then when it's time to, you advance and then you raise your own family.
Hmm.
And that's like, but then even with that, you graduate from that because now your kids are out of the house.
Yeah.
Grandma, grandpa,
Yeah.
like, and so it's a whole different transition of time and family
Yes.
and things like that.
Yes.
And now is your time. What you're doing, of
Hmm.
course, you're giving back. You're able to
Yeah.
give back, you're in a position to give back, you have people that are willing to listen, and even the ones that aren't willing to listen yet, at some point they're going to need the message
Yeah.
that you have.
Yeah.
And so
And you know what? What you're saying is so true because when you are in the moment, see, I think a lot of times, especially with our family, we had some good good times with our family. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure many of you guys had some good times with your family.
Absolutely.
But I don't think we appreciate
Hmm.
the good times until they're no
Yeah.
longer there.
Right.
And you look back. I remember our Christmases. I remember, our Thanksgivings.
They're
I
huge.
remember our gatherings in the summertime with our
Hmm.
cousins that came from the South and New
North.
York and everywhere, and everybody gathering at the gathering place, grandma's house.
Hmm.
That enjoyment. And when we talk about that, everybody looks at us like they don't know because they don't know.
Yeah, they didn't get it, they didn't
They
have
didn't get it. They didn't
it.
get it.
And our cousins in New York, little
Yeah.
Kevin still tell me, yo, I want to come down to grandma's house. I need you to shoot this music
But
video. I
can
just want to
you
be
go
there
back?
again.
That's the thing. You understand?
Mhm.
Can you go back?
Mhm.
That's the thing. When you are in the moment, and right now, some of you, you had those moments. You
Mhm.
have those moments with your family right now. Those are good times.
Yep.
Cherish those times because when they come, the experience of, we were talking about that earlier, because we were out there for the beach fellowship,
Right.
and it began to pour raining.
Mhm.
And we captured what we could while
Mhm.
we're in the rain. I mean, it's
Right.
pouring,
Yeah.
and we captured dancing on the beach, or just capturing the moment, because one day we're going to look back and we're going to remember that.
Mhm.
You know what? Even though I still was able to dance on the beach for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I was able to be there.
Mhm.
Who was with me?
Right.
You know, um, and a lot of times we don't stay in that.
Mhm.
I was thinking, like, even when we was at the beach. Now I have another sibling, my oldest sibling, Melanie,
Mhm.
and her husband is no longer with us, but I miss David, because David was one of those people, rain or shine, we ain't leaving.
Right.
Like, he was like, I'm
Living
all
on it.
in.
Yep.
You done came all the way down here.
Mhm.
We're staying.
Yeah, why are we leaving now?
And I used to be so mad at them when we were growing up. I mean, because David, he was with us when I was a little girl.
Mhm.
But I used to be so mad. But later,
Mhm.
I remembered everything we went through from the moment we got there to the time we left.
Yeah.
And guess what? I had a good time
Yep.
because I persevered and I didn't give up.
Mhm.
And I decided I'm going to press on.
Right.
And that, I'm going to be honest with you, I think my sister and her husband had a lot to do with the way I am when going through college.
Mhm.
Going through college, or going through high school when I had my son early.
Mhm.
Going to college when everybody said, you can't do that with your situation. Okay, yes, I can. And then going through college, being married at 19, and pressing, having a family, going through all of that, and people saying, oh, you can't do this. And going back to how I was raised,
Mhm.
those are just circumstances.
Right.
So why are you looking at the bad? Who's at your table? See, it's always about who's at your table. I'm not going to let you give up.
Right.
I'm not going to let you quit.
Mhm.
And if you're ever going to accomplish anything, like I've been telling people, there's some things in my life I need to accomplish before the Lord takes me home.
Mhm.
I ain't going to say what those things are because I haven't accomplished them yet.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. I ain't going to share with y'all because, I need my inner circle to know that.
Yeah.
But if I don't put the people at my table that can get me there,
Mhm.
I fault myself.
Right.
It was the same thing going to college.
Mhm.
As a first gen, I'm a first gen. Going to college as a first gen. If you don't find someone who knows about finance
Mhm.
for college, if you don't find somebody who knows, well, you need to get tutors and different things. If you don't find somebody who understands, oh, baby, you're going to need to go to work, come home, and you still going to have to go to school, and you will still do that, or take care of the kids, and you're going to still have to press on. I'm sorry.
Right.
All right. So welcome back, everybody. We had a power outage. And
Yeah.
now we're back on. We're back on.
We both forgot to charge our phones.
Yes, we did. All right. So, but we know that like I was saying, my family taught me to persevere. I wouldn't have been able to get through
Right.
college. I wouldn't have been able to get through raising my kids. I wouldn't have been able to get through, I'm on a 35-year marriage now. This is our 35th year.
Right.
Just persevering even when times are hard,
Mhm.
but still keep moving.
Right.
And this is the thing, when we're in the middle of it, people will say certain things about, well, it just can't happen. Well, I'm glad I didn't have them sitting at my table when I was needing to be healed from cancer.
Right.
Because if that was the case, man, that would have been messed up. But then again, if you're building a business, you can't have Doubting Thomas there who has never built a business before.
Exactly.
At your table. And then if you're trying to, like, there's some other things that I'm trying to accomplish.
Right.
And no one will help me get the answer to do it.
Mhm.
Because we were talking about unbeliever.
Mhm.
You're an unbeliever.
Yeah, they
With
don't.
my situation. Now, you might believe it, you just don't believe it for me.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Right.
So you have to look at your table and say, who do I need at my table for me to accomplish it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
You know,
sometimes everybody that's been at your table can't be there no more.
you know what I'm saying? You don't always know,
No,
like, and you're not always able to build your own team at first. Like,
no.
just because your table is empty and you have people at the table,
Mm,
you don't always know if those people are gonna be the stay there people.
no.
Like, I remember this one guy,
Hmm.
well, actually two different guys. One guy when I was in college,
Okay.
every time I did a new song, he told me, "Man, that's the best song I ever heard." I'm like, thanks, man. But I took it with a grain of salt. This other guy, every time we do a service at the church, if it's a youth service, like I liken him to like Abraham, like in the Bible. Every time God moved for him, he built the altar there. And some people they want to build an altar there. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's how we do when it comes to
Yeah.
people that are in our inner circle.
Right.
Now, we want to build relationships. It's great to build relationships. It's great to
Hmm.
have fellowship, but not everybody's going to be there for the long haul. And we just have to know. Now, I had to learn it from being at Solid Rock for
Hmm.
one,
Right.
because there was a church split.
Right.
You
It
know,
was two
John.
or three of them.
Well, it was a
It
few
was a
of
couple
them,
of them. Yeah.
but
It was a
the
couple of them.
main one
Yeah.
for me was when John was there, because John was my youth pastor.
Right. Right. Right.
Like
Right.
when we were in Voorhees.
Right. Now
And
he's
that,
my bishop. Now.
yeah. And then when
Yeah.
he left the church,
Uh-huh.
like most of the leadership left with him.
Right.
And
Right.
because they left, most of them, or some of the younger ones, were my friends. The
Yeah.
people when and I had just come into the church. Well,
Gotcha.
almost
Yeah.
all of them stopped calling me, stopped hanging out and different
Oh,
things like that. And I'm like,
yeah.
dang, what
Right.
am I? Chop suey?
Right.
But
But your relationships sometimes are built on a common thread or commonality.
mhm,
And I think that's another thing in the church. We think that everyone who's in the church is our friend,
right.
and that's not true. Just like at work, everybody at work is not, well, no, everybody at work is not your friend. I need to say that
Exactly.
because some people, you know, you might hang out with them every so often. They are not your friends.
Yeah.
So make sure that you have your friends outside of work as well as your friends outside of church, because you
Right.
can go to two different churches
Hmm.
and still be friends. And I
Exactly.
don't need to go to your church.
Exactly.
You know, you don't need to come to my
Right.
church.
And I
Right?
understand though that
Yeah.
it's people have lives. You know, a lot of them were getting married at the same time,
Right. Right.
raising families and
Yeah.
transitioning in life. And
Right.
so our paths just separated.
Right.
But then the ones that are supposed to be in my life, our paths came back together.
Right.
Like myself and Mark.
Yeah.
Like we were still friends, myself and Brian. We don't hang out.
Right.
Like if I call him at any moment, yo, B, what's going
Right.
on?
They'll pray
It's
with
like
you.
no time
They'll
has
help you
ever
through. Right.
it's like
Yeah.
no time's lapsed,
That's awesome.
you know?
That's
And
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. But I think that's something that has to be, that's a conversation that has to be told,
Mhm.
has to be had, especially at the church when you're growing up, you know, having a mentor telling you that, hey, everybody that you see in front of you right now is not going to the next stage with you.
Well,
And it's okay.
Aunt Cynthia told you, I'm sure. My dad told me, like, grandmom said it. All those friends that you got in school that you hang out
You don't
with
see
now.
half of them.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like,
And that, now I'm saying the same thing to other kids. You know, same thing.
same
It's
thing. You
really,
say that right, but
yeah.
I don't think you was paying attention. What?
I heard them.
I wasn't paying attention.
I ain't listen.
I was not listening.
But I wanted to, I was going to say something earlier before we got cut off the first time. I
Yeah.
was going to, like, so about just having, I guess, stick to itiveness and longevity.
Mm,
So when I was young in the faith, I was praying one day and God told me to have a Bible study.
okay.
And so I went in grandmom's living room and I sat there that evening and I told everybody I was doing a Bible study. And when I got to start, ready to start, nobody was there. And
Mm,
God said, I didn't tell you to do it because everybody's going to be here. I told you to have Bible study.
how about that?
So I remember grandmom, she was in the room
Yeah.
back where her and grandpa had the room. She was still in that part.
Right.
And she was like, what you doing out here, buddy? What you doing out here, boy? It's like, oh, I'm having Bible study. He's like, but nobody's here. I said, I know.
Yeah.
And I taught it like everybody was there.
Yeah.
I had no clue what I was talking about.
Yeah. Well, we had a few of those services too. Teach you to the chairs. But you
Yeah.
know, Rev and them, they used to teach you. We don't have service because people show up.
Mm-hmm.
We have service because we're obedient to the Lord.
Exactly.
And you preach to those chairs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bishop tells us all the time, speak,
Yeah.
You speak to them chairs. They
Exactly.
be filled, you know?
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, so that I'm talking about this because when I said failure is not always failure,
Mm-hmm.
we sometimes we think it's failure.
Yeah.
So that was a lesson,
Mhm.
like really early on. A
Yeah.
few years later, after Bible college, when I said I wanted to have a band and a dance group,
Yeah.
and Pastor Con let me use his building.
Yeah.
So I started hosting practices, and I posted online that I'm hosting practices. I don't know how to play an instrument. I don't know how to sing. I don't know how to dance. But I hosted practices. Man was staying in the dorms that they had over right down the street on Burnt Mills Road.
Yeah.
Man was staying in the dorms over there, and I turned the music on and had it blasting. And I was up on stage practicing like I had 1,000 people in there. Nobody was there. Man walks in the room. Man's my brother. He walks in the sanctuary. He's like, Steven, I thought there was a whole concert going on. Like,
Hey.
why are you in here rapping so hard? Like, I was losing my voice and everything.
Right.
I was like, well, I can't expect the crowd to be here and not prepare for them. So
Right.
if nobody's here this week, I'll do it again next week.
Right.
And I'll do it again the following week until the people come.
Right. Yeah.
Like 2 weeks later, my buddy Khalif comes in. He's like, yo, like, all right, I saw online that you wanted to do a dance team. All right, I'll come through. My friend Nydia, I had met her recently. She comes through, and they wound up bringing in kids and young adults. And then we had the I wound up talking to somebody about doing a festival
Right.
before we had anybody. Then Kendall came through to play the drums. Ty came through to play the keys and the bass, and somebody came through to play the key, like to help out and company on keys. And we wound up doing a show. And then we wound up having a whole dance group and a band traveling all over New Jersey, Delaware, Philly,
What
New
you're
York.
saying right now, see, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about people at your table, but this is part of the
Yeah,
faith.
right.
Walking by faith.
Mm-hmm.
That I have an end goal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
And like we were saying, sometimes you have to walk alone.
Right.
Until somebody shows up.
Until they're there.
And that's the hardest part because you're grieving the past. I remember this gentleman online said, while you're going through the grief, the moment you let it go, the moment you let go the people behind you who can't go to the next, you're on your way. And when he said that, I was like, I get it. There's no apology. There's no, oh, okay. But if we keep looking back, that's why. Think about it in the Bible, right? Who looked back and became a pillar of salt? Right. You understand? Like, you can't look back. You gotta keep your eyes on the prize of what God is saying. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. Right. You know, the first thing I wanted to say, but it is the agreement activates power.
Yeah.
You know, and we were talking about that. How can two walk together unless they agree? Right. We hope in marriages you have an agreement to some degree. You're never going to agree with everything. Right. But majority of what you move forward in, children, household, bills, you understand, that should be an agreement. But it's never going to be 100%. To those out there that it's been 100% or on 99, well, praise God for you. Right. Praise God. Right. But in other relationships, your friendships, your different things, there should be that agreement because it activates power because we're never going to give up. Right. If you and I decide we're going to do a podcast or we're going to get on here and we're going to have this thing, even when the power both times went out.
Yeah, we didn't stop.
We like, okay, what do I need?
Yeah, we had an end goal.
It wasn't like, oh, well, that's enough. I'm done. That means we wasn't even committed. Right. Anytime you get that, you wasn't committed. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you got to have that agreement. So then I would say when you're believing for healing or pushing toward a breakthrough, you know, pastors are always preaching that breakthrough. We preached it ourselves. Right. Preach for the breakthrough. Agreement and faith is essential. Right. Like-minded believers help you stay aligned with God's promises. I love when the people of God don't let you faint. Avoid doubters who speak fear and stay connected to those who speak faith. Yeah. The worst thing you can do is be on a journey
Mhm.
and have everybody around you
It
in
doesn't believe.
disbelief.
Yeah, it's funny when I wanted to get this car that I have.
Mhm.
Like I called one of the elders at the church, my buddy Kevin,
Yeah.
and I credit him for me having that car.
Yes.
I was like, "Yo, man, I'm really like praying about this car. I'm
Mhm.
looking at it online, blah blah blah." And I was like, "But I don't know, man." He
Mm.
said, "Man, if anybody can believe for that car,
Mhm.
it's you." He said it just like that.
Yeah.
I was like,
Your dad was like that too. Your dad was like that. I'm telling
Mhm.
you. He was like, I remember telling him, I want to go back to school or I want to do this. He said, well, why can't you?
Right. Like, what's the problem?
Well, what's the problem? Like he would like every time I would come to him about something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't get it.
I don't understand
get
why
it.
you're
Like
not
he
doing it
could
already.
never understand. Well, I don't have this person. And
Okay, do it.
so what do you have?
Yeah.
And that's one. I think he was one of the first people, in addition to I say T.D. Jakes and some of these other
Mhm.
big preachers. What's in your hand?
It's funny because I never heard him say
What's in
that,
your hand?
but God told me that one day. I was living in Avondale, right?
What's in your hand?
I was living in Avondale at
Mhm.
my mom's, and it was right before I left to go to college. And
Yeah.
I said, God, there's so many kids out here.
Mhm.
What can we do to get these kids saved? And God said, "What's in your hand?" And I was being smart aleck. I was
Good
throwing.
thing we have a God that ain't gonna switch it.
I know, right? I literally was sitting in a room with a football in my hand. I was throwing it up, catching it.
Right.
When I heard him say, "What's in your hand?" I
Mhm.
said, "A football." He said, "All right, take the football outside tomorrow and throw it."
Wow.
I literally, you can ask Demont. I told Demont about this. I literally said, "Demont, let's go outside and have catch."
Yes.
We went outside and had catch. By the end of us playing
Yes.
catch, there was like 50 kids all around me.
Yes.
And God was like, "All right, now you have the kids. Now tell them about me."
See,
And I told him, I
listen,
shared the gospel
I
right there.
I have to say this. I have to say this because you mentioned Reverend Khan,
Uh-huh.
Amir Khan earlier. And he was one of our pastors in the early years of my husband and
Right.
I. Right after we came through Reverend McDaniels, we went to Solid Rock, and Reverend Khan was our pastor. And I'm telling you, I had to meet him and his wife.
Yeah.
That was a season of my life.
Right, right.
Like it mattered.
Yeah.
Because of the way that I grew up. And my parents instilled in me that you must have good work ethics.
Mm-hmm.
You must apply whatever it is you need to do. You need to take care of what you have.
Mm-hmm.
You understand,
Right.
value it,
Mm-hmm.
and work. That was one of the things that our family, like our mom and dad, that was it,
Yeah.
And when I met Reverend Khan, he was a person, this is the first time, he was the person God sent to show me how to see things
Mm-hmm.
that aren't there.
Mm.
And I was like, who this crazy man? Like, you know what I'm saying? Who this crazy man? Now, cousin Daryl was always that guy that was like, well, I don't see what the problem is. Like, you understand? But I couldn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
I could believe it. See,
Mhm.
that's the vision. The
Yeah.
visionary, I could see it. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
But meeting Reverend Khan and his wife showed me the parts
Mm-hmm.
behind the curtain.
Right.
You understand? Like,
Mhm.
so every time I go into a building, because see, I was there at the ground up when they were doing it.
You see them build
So
all of them.
I see them, and so he used to talk to us, all the young people that was there, and he would tell us. So what do you say? Like he would have those conversations with them, like, oh, what you talking about? He's like, so what do you say? He said, this is what I see, and I'm like, this man crazy. I don't see what he see, but he wasn't crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He could see things,
Mm-hmm.
and then because he could see them, they came to pass.
He could show you how to make it happen.
And that is what the word of God says.
Mm-hmm.
And so, being a visionary, because I know that without a shadow of doubt, you need those experiences with other people
Mm-hmm.
because it's a learned experience. It teaches you things, and there was something in me that needed to be ignited.
Right.
And all of a sudden, so now I can have the pieces and I can have the vision.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to explain that to people if it ever If I ever get an opportunity, it was, you have no idea. Being able to go to college was one of the most phenomenal things because someone told me, this is what you need to do. Now, it's not that easy, but being able to walk that thing out and make it happen a couple of times over, you understand? Right. That was phenomenal. Being able to have businesses and say, okay, these are successful ones, but these ones not so much. You understand? Having children, raising those kids. You know, my boys, I look at them and they're successful. Right. Like, you understand? But the journey was complicated. Of course. But I saw the end. And then there was all these little pieces in between. And it's no different building a business or the other things I think that God has showed me. It is about who's at your table. Right. You know? And I want to encourage people out there. This is not the point to give up. This is the point to persevere, right, to find out what is it that God would have you to do. So we're going to come back with session 3, and we're going to talk about encouragement sharpens your faith. So this has been Encouragement on Fire, and we're going to talk to you in just a moment.